Good evening. Oh, hey, host. Nice to have you with us. Give me 1 second while I get set up. Right. It's 8 o'clock, and I am, of course, not ready. Same every week. So I'm just going to take 2-3 minutes to get ready. While I'm doing that, I actually finished off the testing last week. Oh, I've just got the outro to watch. I actually watched this. So I'm just going to hit complete. Which is cool. And then I'm on to React Suspense. Now, I've actually never done any suspense, so I am stoked to try this. I think the API has matured a lot over the years, so it should be in a relatively good place to actually pick it up. I'm also terrible at multitasking, so as I made small talk there, I completely forgot what I was doing. Okay, let's move that over here. Let's go here. Of course, it's a new, right. It's a new module, so I'm going to need to install the project. Let's see if I can get this running. There we go. And then can I get Chrome? There we go. There's some Chrome. I think that's everything. All right, what do I need here? So let's jump back one onto EpicReact. Should have all of these. Let's grab Suspense. npm run setup -- silent. It may take a few minutes, and then npm start, and then I've got the tests here. That's cool. There's a welcome here for like 5 minutes. So while that's installing, let me just fire up this. I'm just going to watch the intro video. If you're watching and you haven't watched before, I'm able to show the open source code and work through the exercises, but if you want to watch the videos, then you need to purchase the course. Alright, so that's installing. Alright, I'm just going to be off mic for 3-4 minutes while I watch this video. All right, nice. Intro video, and then I need to flip. Let's have a look. What's your email address? Nice. Okay, so npm start. And then let's have a look. That's a bit better. And then 01, what have I got? MD exercise. Alrighty. Cool. Let's go to exercise 1. Throw it into dark mode. And then he mentioned about turning concurrent mode on. So I don't think I need the terminal now that is running. Which is going to be the root. So index, React.Render. Let's crack on, and then if it doesn't work, then I know concurrent mode hasn't been enabled. Ah, that's because I think I have, yeah, I still have testing React apps open. Smooth. All right. How do I add a folder? Sorry, I got distracted. I've lost my file menu. How do I get that back? Is there a code here? No. The hell did I get that back? Open editors. Bit of debugging to begin with. VS Code. Show file menu. Oh, it may be in the. What's the shortcut for settings? Yeah. Actually, my settings in JSON. Hey, there we go. Take 2. So run exercise 1. Grab Pokemon info. And then let's grab the markdown as well. So that's the final. We have a lazy suspense list. Here's an index.js. Ooh. I can probably drop that blocker now as well. That's good. I always forget to drop that. So we have simple data fetching. I'm just going to assume that concurrent mode has been enabled. Would have thought it would have been in here, but clearly not. Alright, let's see what we're doing. We're going to start off as simple as possible, but it's going to feel a little bit different. Here's the Suspense API. We have a function of component, and if there's data, return the data. Throw promise. React will catch this, find the closest suspense component, and suspend everything from there down from rendering until the promise resolves. Okay. React DOM, create root element, and then, okay. So this is going to be a top level loading thing. So that's going to throw, and it's going to replace whatever is in here with this fallback until this resolves, which would give us data, which would return this. Imagine when your app loads, you need some data before you can show anything useful. Typically, we want to put the data loading right in the component that requires the data. Pending. Yeah. It's all pretty straightforward. If it succeeds, then we're going to set state, and we're going to set the Pokemon to the resolved promise. And if it errors, then we're going to catch it here, and then we'll set state here. Current equals false. Oh, if current is true, then do it. Okay. However, for Bootstrap type data, we can start that request before we even render the app. This is called render as you fetch. Here are some docs you will need. Here's a quick example of promises. On success, we take the result, and if it fails, it will give us an error message. We're going to construct a promise here. We're going to do something asynchronously, and if it works, then we handle success, and if it fails, then we handle the failure. Okay, in this exercise we have a page that's specifically for the Pokemon named Pikachu, and we want to load his data as soon as the app starts. You're going to use an error boundary that I've built for you, as relevant as they are to the topic. You'll also be using the React Suspense API. Cool, seems straightforward. You'll also need to get fetch Pokemon from Pokemon. All right, let's start. Use it like this. I'm gonna call fetch Pokemon. Come on. Come on, name. If all goes well, handle success. Otherwise, handle failure. I cannot spell today. Right, so that's obviously not going to work just now because none of these are defined. Create a variable called Pokemon using let. Delete this now. Goodbye. Interestingly, nothing happened here. So I just deleted all of that. And nothing happened. I would have thought it would have errored. We don't need the app to be mounted to know that we want to fetch the Pokemon Pikachu, so we can go ahead and do that right here. Assign a Pokemon promise variable to call a fetch Pokemon Pikachu. Alright, so const Pokemon variable. We're going to call... It's basically going to be this, right? Stick this in a variable, just in case we need to reference it elsewhere. Don't think we need this anymore. We've done this, so we can get rid of that. We've created the let. Pokemon variable. Then when the promise resolves, assign the Pokemon variable. Let's do two things here. Let's do const. Let's just define these. This can just be empty functions for now. Failure. I really cannot spell today. So if this resolves, after resolve, and if it errors, E for error. When the promise resolves, assign the Pokemon variable to the resolved value. Cool. So we can say Pokemon equals R dot. Maybe it'll just be R. Yep. That's pretty much what I've got. And let's just log if it all goes tits up. Cool. So we've got the two of these. We have a variable. If there's no Pokemon yet, then throw the Pokemon promise. Like... no, for real. Alright, throw Pokemon. It's not there. Makes me think. Should be called Pokemon Promise. Cool, so let's throw the promise. If the code gets this far, then the Pokemon variable is defined and rendering can continue. So if it's here, it will return the suspense component until it's resolved, and then it will return this. Wrap this component with a React Suspense component with a fallback. So we'll do React.Suspense, and the fallback is going to be, I can never remember if it's a function you need to give it. Let's just say div loading. Super original. Peter, nice of you to join us, man. Thanks for following. Do you have any experience with Suspense? Oh, I have interest. Oh, 97. Thought you were number 100, but I'm still 3 shy. Wrap the Pokemon info component with a React Suspense component with a fallback. So the fallback is going to be a highly original loading div. So I think we can just get rid of that. It worries me that this isn't doing anything. That's probably why. There we go. So let's do npm start. Pretty sure it's just start I need, right? Let's have a quick look at this while this boots up. Yeah, the fallback, you just provide the node. Suspense takes 2 props, a fallback and avoid this fallback. All right, let's grab this. Loading. Forever loading. Let's add in a couple of alerts before Go removes them. Okay, cool. So that's good. But okay, so this is working, which means shouldn't need that. I think concurrent mode isn't turned on. Is there an app.js? No. It's normally like index.js. Please heed all warnings. Module.exports requires concurrent mode is true. Cool. Pokemon info is a suspense component with a fallback. We throw, let's just check the docs. That's normally a good start. But we're not actually throwing in the docs, right? This is just going to be Kent's way of demonstrating what it does. I mean, that all seems fine, right? React will catch this. It will suspend everything from rendering until the promise resolves. So the promise is resolving. That's why we're getting this. Is ESLint complaining? I'm really paranoid I've not switched anything on, so I'm actually just going to check the final. Ah, if there's no Pokemon, then throw it. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to throw. Is that right? So if there's no Pokemon, which it will be initially, because we're just defining it as undefined. Cool. That's what was missing. I don't think I would have got that myself, so I'm glad I checked that. So if there's no Pokemon, even though it's right here in the description. So what would have happened there if I didn't have that conditional? So when that's like this function will render the app. We'll set up this suspense with a fallback, and we'll have this Pokemon info class. This will then execute, and it will throw this promise, which will display this until this promise resolves. The promise resolves, which I'm guessing triggers a re-render. It executes the component again, it throws the promise, and then it just ends up in an infinite loop. Interestingly, let me save this because I should get the alert here, right? I only ever get the alert once. So it can't be looping. Otherwise, it would just keep saying success. Let's put the condition back in. Did we have the data we need? Success. Nice. So let's just get rid of these. Hey. All right. First exercise in suspense. Done. Extra credit under add error handling with an error boundary. What happens if you mistype Pikachu? It's just gonna load. Ah, nice. That's cool. I was going to say I can't be bothered building out a error boundary. I mean, it's pretty easy, but I'm lazy. So it's nice that it's already been done for us. You can import it from the Pokemon file. That is good times. Pokemon error boundary. Ah, oh my. How did I manage that? And then I think I wrapped the entire thing. Actually. Most error boundaries you put right at the top. I actually don't think it'll make a difference here because we don't have any other error boundaries. So when an error triggers, it's gonna head up the tree until it finds the first error boundary that it comes across, which will be this one. Awesome copy pasting. All right. If this errors, instead of console erroring, let me just pull this up a little bit so you can see it. I'm just going to refresh this. Okay, so it is throwing an error here. So, well, it's logging, sorry. It's logging an error. So as well as that, let's throw error. No, let's just pass E. Let's see what happens. Don't need to pass it anything. So this triggers. Now where does it error? This errors. Yeah, it should be able to still go up. No worries. Sorry, I've been playing around with chat moderator settings. Sorry, you had to wait 10 minutes. That's cool. I'll add the nice. I try to think what I'm streaming in just now. Science and technology. But I'll do software and game development next time. Thanks for the tip. Why is this not firing? That should catch that error. I'm just gonna bring it closer to the source and see if that makes a difference. Nice. Take care. Why? Why is that error boundary not picking that up? We should probably debug this a little bit. So we're gonna go into Pokemon. So we've got the error boundary here. Error fallback. Pokemon error boundary. Fallback render. Takes props. Error fallback. Which is going to be this. Can reset. On reset or reset keys. Excuse me. Oh, I woke up at like 5 a.m. this morning, so excuse me for being a little bit tired. All right, let's keep trying to move it closer. It needs to be there. Or not there, but it needs to be above this because this is what it's going to throw. Logs. So it's failing, and there's the error. Just going to remove that error being thrown. Errors thrown after the resolve is called will be silenced. But it should never resolve, right? Because it's using the wrong name. So this should never fire, which is cool, because in the logs, there's nothing there. What could I do? The parent props is just getting some children passed to it, which makes sense. Fallback render, error fallback, can reset parent props. Okay, so this shouldn't be able to reset. It should give me the error fallback. We should render this, but it is not. Did I spell it wrong? Pokemon. Looks fine. I have interest if I remove the suspense. Pokemon nice. So let's take out the throw just now. There was an error. Cannot read properties. And then let's take. Cool. So if I take this out, it just straight up errors. If I add the error boundary, then instead of a white screen, it at least tells us what's wrong. And because we can't reset, it's not showing us the reset button and things. So That makes sense so far. Then the previous error was because I was throwing a promise. But I didn't have suspense. So let's add suspense back in. See what happens. Okay, so that's interesting. So I've got the error here. Should I have the error? There was an error. So that's never called. So why is that erroring? Oh, because I'm okay, cool. So I'm fetching it before this even mounts. And this Pokemon promise is failing at this point. Is the extra credit? Let me just check. What happens if you mistype it? In React, the way we handle it is with this, read up and error boundaries. It's going to lower this a little bit. Touch. Okay. We've got this all built out for you. We can import it. We've done this. You'll need to wrap your component in the boundary for handling that error. But then, which is clearly the part I've missed, you need to turn your promises error into an error the error boundary can handle. But this extra credit, think of the error as similar to the Pokemon data. You'll need a handler to get access to the error object. And then if it's instead of it using your JX, you simply throw it in your render method. So if it fucks up, throw the error. Okay, so if there's no Pokemon, throw the promise. You'll need to turn your promises error into an error. I'm tempted to just add state. So const state dispatch. Let's use a reducer. So React. Use reducer. So normally I would do like pending, then you would show the loading. Resolved, you would show the full thing, and if it errored, you would do something else. But it feels like suspense is kind of doing that for us, which makes me hesitant to use this. Think of the error as similar to Pokemon data. Let error. We just define an error object here, and then say if it fucks up, the reason that wasn't throwing in the error boundary, as I've now been able to work out, I don't know why I've got it like that, is because this exists outside of this component. So it's throwing an error, but this isn't throwing in here. This is throwing outside of the component, which is why it wasn't being triggered in the error boundary, I believe. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. Anyway, I know the fix. Let's keep the logs just so I know where I am. We're going to say error equals E. We're going to say if there is an error, throw it. Throw error message. Would have thought that would have worked. Really thought that would have worked. So it is failing. Okay, let me just get rid of that parent props because I shouldn't need anything in here. Hey. What happens if I sneak this in here? Good. I'm actually glad because otherwise that would have been a really weird API. Okay. Let's see if we're getting the error in the logs. We are not. Just going to move this further up so you can see. So that error is not throwing. Which is weird because... Oh, is it weird? Oh no, failure. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the failure hits here. We could move this into the component, but it feels like that defeats the purpose of it. Because the point of the exercise was to do it and render, what's it called? Render before fetch or render while fetching? Let's have a look. Yeah, I should just be able to throw that error. You then need to turn the error into an error the error boundary can handle. So if we look at React error boundary, so there's the actual boundary. Yeah, so this makes sense, but I mean, let's just put that right at the top and then it should trigger. So this throws an error. I just do this. Doesn't make sense. Interestingly, nothing showed up there. Let me just refresh. Give that another go. Because is it the order? Something to do with this. Yeah. There was an error. Unsupported Pokemon Pikachu. Try Mewtwo. Cool. So that makes sense. And then if I put this in, it should throw the Pokemon Promise, and then it should give me it. Okay, so the error has to go first. That's cool. Not 100% why that's the case, but if this fails, or while it's resolving, or I imagine if it fails as well, it will block the rendering of anything below it. So it failed, but it's blocking this from throwing. So that's why this needs to be above. Because if it errors, then I want to throw. Cool. Nice, extra credit. That was good. I had to tease that out a little bit there. But I'm glad I got there. It's actually 9 o'clock. I normally take a 5-6 minute break at this point to just go and grab some water. So I'll be back at, I don't know, 9:05, and I'll crack on with the second extra credit. So back shortly. All right. What did I miss? Ah, Dimitri. Thanks for following, man. Good to have you with us. Oh. All right, so we just finished the extra credit one. I didn't realize how thirsty I was. God damn. I'm also definitely close to 100 Twitch followers. I think I'm on 98. 98. 2 followers to go. I think I'm going to gift. Well, first of all, I need to learn how to gift subs. But then I'm going to gift subs to my 100th follower. So if you're watching and not following, might as well, eh? Thank you. Okay. Extra credit number 2. Production deploy. Boundaries. This is also a JavaScript refactor, but in this case we want to make a generic resource factory which has the following API. Resource, create resource, function my component, resource.read. Oh, there's multiple, there's another credit after this. God damn. All right. So we have a resource. We're going to create a resource. Some async thing. Function my component. Const my data equals resource.read. What? All right. Render my data stuff. So if we're rendering under here, then this read is going to have to throw the promise. And then that blocks everything underneath it. Try to refactor your code to have a resource factory we can use for all of our async needs. So we're going to have a number of async functions in our application, and we should just be able to throw it at that factory, or resource, sorry. And it should handle all of the suspense for us. Okay. So let's have it over here. Just going to bring this back down. So should we just do it in this file? Okay. Create resource. Thank you very much. Sorry, distracted. Resource factory. Create resource. So function create resource. And this is going to be our resource factory. That's going to take an async, let's call it async thing. async func. Okay. So that has, we need to return an object here. And we're going to return a function called read. Const read. It's just going to be a function. It's going to read at the moment. That's all we needed to do. Instead of calling so this, okay, so we're returning this. We're defining a read function. We'll come back to that. We're going to take our async function. Then we're going to do handle success and handle failure. I wonder if that's going to be the read. Who knows? Okay, let's move all of this inside, right? Let's move this inside. Let's grab this too. No. That's not quite right because I need this to throw inside of here. Let's put them back for now. And the Pokemon promise. I want to create a resource with this function. But I don't need this. I just need this. Let's just call this resource. So we're going to create the resource and we're going to pass the function through here. We're just going to call, and whenever it resolves, it'll do one of two of these. So let's just add in some logging here as well. Resource.read. So he's actually calling that inside the component, which is interesting. Thought the whole point was to call it outside of it. Anyway, let's do it anyway. So we're gonna look for Pokemon equals resource read. I think we can just throw the error in here. because this will execute and then this will execute, and we need the error to throw first. So let's just stick that in there. So what is our read function going to do? Maybe that's going to do this. Let's just keep this generic. The data is going to be the response. Resource dot read is returning this data. So I'm going to create a resource with an async function here. And then when I call .read from this resource, it's going to give me my Pokemon data. So I'm going to create the resource with the async function, which is going to return this. So if I just take all of this out for just now, and I return this, so read is a function that is going to return, sure, I log Pokemon here, I should see Pikachu. Let's just take this out for just now. Cool. So this is logging. Why is this? So we've got an error boundary here. Guessing that's what is, can I read the properties of undefined? Because it's trying to, it's trying to do the properties of. Oh, that shouldn't error. Cool. Yeah. Cool. So an error in this component is throwing, which is coming back up and hitting our Pokemon error boundary, which is cool. That's fine. Then we've got Pikachu coming through here. So the read function returns that. We want the read function to return, well, this, right? We want the read function to return the result of handle success. So I wonder if this function should be should it be stateful? No, then it would be use resource, right? So we're passing this function through, right? With some args. The read is going to call the async function. If it is successful, Can I just return that? Let's bring these back, right? Let's not do anything with that just now. Let's just keep the logs, and this obviously it's no hoisting because they're consts. What happens if I just return R here? Let's just clear that. Async func is not a function. And I'm just going to take this out for just now, right? Because so we have success firing, and the Pokemon is a promise here, a fulfilled promise. Calling this returns the data. We have data here. Create resource will be called. The ordering of this is going to be important. If there's no data, throw new async func. Oh, I don't need a new one. I can just throw the async function. This just returns data. Was I doing that before? Promise was outside of it, and I assigned it, so I fetched it, and then I did that. So the point of calling fetch Pokemon. Did that. Point of calling the async function. There's no data. This is just blocking it, right? See? Pokemon data view. That's that. Right, so that's blocking everything below it. Which means this never gets returned, which means this can never return the data. Okay. That for now. Why is undefined? Because the async function is never called. Or if I just call it. Handle success. Handle failure. So success. Well, not quite success, but Pokemon is still undefined, right? So this blocks anything below it. So I only want to return this function whenever this has been populated. So if I now do this, does this work? Success. No dice. I thought that would work. My train of thought there was this would block rendering until this resolves. And the time it takes this to resolve, this data let would have been updated with the response. This would resolve, it would stop blocking, it would return the read function, which would then get called, and then Pokemon would have its data. I put them both in here. Make a difference. Read function. All I'm trying to do at the minute is get some data down here. So the promise is pending. Interestingly, the success fires here. Oh, Turning into a bit of a mess. That's going to call read here. So let's not block it here. Let's block it here. So there we've got some data coming back. Let's clear that. Okay. So I've got, so I've got the data I need. That's a good start. That's still erroring though, because this is returning a promise and not the actual value. So this read function, that's on the read. Don't think I need this because I'm just going to call then. So on the read function, I'm going to call my async function with the handle success and failure. I probably shouldn't get rid of those logs, but I just want to work through it. If there's no data, which there shouldn't be at this moment in time, block rendering. And because we're blocking rendering, then we're not returning this data. Whenever this resolves, it will succeed. And when it succeeds, then we're going to assign a response to our data let. That will resolve, rendering will resume, and it will return data, which should be here. Come on. Yes. Love it. That's cool. All right, so we no longer need this. I mean, that's just, we're assigning that. Okay, so let's introduce the error as well. So if it fails, let's change that to Pikachu. Oh, the old infinite. The infinite fail. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop. Okay, there we go. I think there's a way to kill that, and I can never remember where it is. Setting. Can't remember where the big cancel button is. Right. We want the error boundary first. So that's going to go there. And we're going to return the read function. That's working. That's cool. And if I do this wrong, should get the error boundary. Amazing. Then I think I should just be able to re-enable this and we should get some stats. Then we can remove this. Love it. That's cool. And makes sense. Which is always nice. Alright, what else we got? Oh, we got 25 minutes left. Use utils. There are a few utilities in the source utils file that we'll be using a bunch during this workshop. Refactor your code to use create resource from the utils and Pokemon info fallback from the source Pokemon JS. Pokemon info fallback. Pokemon info fallback. Okay. I'm gonna need Pokemon info fallback from here. Create resource from utils. But I just made my own. I'm going to comment this out instead of deleting it because I'm going to watch the solution video. See what happens. So I think I can just use the create resource here and keep everything the same. And then instead of this loading, I'm going to put the Pokemon info fallback. Ooh, functions are not valid. Oh, I need to. There we go. Nice. So we've got some custom UI for the loading. We have an error boundary component. And then we're displaying the correct data. Let's just take that out. Custom resource facts, right? And that was extra credit. Ooh. Awesome. First exercise done. Data fetching, elaborate upon you learned. What did we learn? I don't think that was the actual suspense API, right? What did we do? Error handling. And to use React Suspense. Ooh. To return. To return fallback UI. The data was loaded. To return fallback UI when our data was being fetched. Lock. We then abstracted that to custom resource factory. That was great fun. Had an absolute blast. Great fun. Really cool exercise. I hope they're all like that. So, what time are we at? So there's 3 solution videos. I've got like 15-20 minutes left. I'm actually tempted, just with how well that went and with how tired I am, to just sit and watch these videos and then maybe end the stream a little bit early, just on that completed solution. So I'm going to hang about and watch these solution videos. I'm going to be off mic, but if you have any questions, now's a good time to just throw them in chat and I'll answer them while I'm watching the videos.
I'll just go ahead and copy.
All right, good times. Let's make sure there's no play. Let's drop the blocker. Yeah, I got most of that. The custom resource factory was completely different, but that was to be expected. I'm kind of happy that this worked. Maybe I'll refactor this to match the example next time. However, there's like 8 minutes left. Oh, nice. Skip track. There you go. Thank you for following Cat Joker. Let's go. You've kind of caught me at the end of this one, but I'll be back on Thursday from 8 p.m. BST, and then I'm going to continue with render as you fetch. But with the first exercise out of the way, I'm going to finish up there for the evening. So, just to recap, we finished off concurrent mode was already set for us, and we worked through the simple data fetching exercises. And when I'm back on Thursday, I'm going to kick off with the render as you fetch. All right. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you on Thursday.